is blown up. It's just stuck on 99 plus. Definitely, if you know your Enneagram type or your Clifton Strength Finders, I would love for you to engage on social media. My personal Twitter is School Psych Life, or you can follow Hacking Deficits and let me know what your top strengths are. I would love to discuss it. Another really good one out of UPenn. UPenn is doing sensational work in the field of positive psychology. Again, shout out to Martin Seligman and the late Chris Peterson. They've developed the values and action, the VIA. It's a character strength survey. And I use this early in my work. It's really good because it gives you those 24 strengths, which is really good as well. It's super research evidence. It's a really, really strong assessment. What I like about it is they have a youth survey for the VIA as well. They have a youth survey for the Clifton Strength Finders, but it takes a lot of time. And considering some of our neurodiverse students, I had to work with our students for them to be able to take it. But that's just good information to know for any of these assessments that you take. But they do have some of these youth-focused instruments you can use as well. I wanted to provide you all with some quick resources. And again, you all should get these slides and handouts. And all of these links are hyperlinked, which means you should be able to just click it and it'll take you directly to all of these different resources. These resources, it gives you the actual strengths, it gives you the surveys that you can use. I really like number 3 because it gives you a guide to using this survey with students who might have a disability. I really like the 24 days of character strengths. It's a calendar that you can use each day. It's really, really useful. It's amazing. And then for parents, they have a character strengths at home that you could use with your young people. Now, for the facilitators, for teachers, school leaders, anybody who's on, it's 3,000 people on this call. Shout out to yourselves. Shout out to everyone here who is prioritizing shifting from what's wrong to what's strong. All 3,000 of you. I wish we could give some claps here to the 3,000 of us on this call today. But I want to give you all more resources, more values. These are strength-based activities that you can use today to shift away from what's wrong to what's strong for yourselves, for your students, and for your family as well. Hands down, my favorite strength-based activity is 3 good things. It's so simple, but it's been evidence. Shout out to, again, Martin Seligman and his team out of UPenn. They scientifically studied ways to increase rates of depression. Now, New York City, stay with me. Martin Seligman, he's amazing. And he had a private practice, and he found that even providing, when you had the combination of psychiatric drugs, even when you did a behavioral therapy with students in his private practice, that as he said, the best you can do is getting people back to a state of zero. And what he meant by that is you can work on anxiety and depression and stress. And when you treat those things, the best you can do is get a person back to a level of homeostasis. And he argued, people are more than that. We deserve to flourish. And he introduced this concept of prosperity, of flourishing, y'all. So in the strength-based approach, not only are we working towards getting rid of stress, anxiety, of depression, we're now adding on to that, thriving and flourishing and leading a meaningful life. And one of the activities that he sought to do this was focusing and reflecting on 3 good things that happened throughout the course of the day. By simply writing down and then reflecting on why those good things happened, he saw rates of happiness shoot up through the roof. And he saw rates of depression decrease through the floor, right? Importantly, what he saw is that the impact of 3 good things lasted at 6 weeks, at 6 months, at 12 months, by reflecting on 3 good things, y'all. So how powerful can it be if we focus on 3 good things for ourselves? And then what happens when we introduce 3 good things as a warm-up activity? Listen, y'all, there's SEL curriculums. I have an SEL curriculum, lessons for SEL. It was acquired by 7 Mindsets. Shout out to 7 Mindsets. Some things in life are free. And reflecting on 3 good things, you can start that today. So the 3,000 people, let's all make an active choice today. We're going to reflect on 3 good things. You're going to follow up with me on social media to let me know how those 3 good things are going as well. Now, upcoming book that we have, one of the things that we discussed is how to spot strengths in our young people and spot strengths in ourselves as well. Some additional activities are some ways to boost happiness. And then I really like this one is 7 tips for using those character strengths when working with other people, because other people matter. Just for the sake of time, we're going to move forward. You all can just take a quick second. Here's a QR code to take the Enneagram assessment, and then actually be able to take that assessment and then identify what your top strengths are based on the Enneagram assessment. So I'll give you a few seconds to just if you have a phone, just open your phone up, go to the camera, and then a link should pop up. And again, the links are embedded in the presentation, so you all will have access to those as well. Okay, let's keep rocking and rolling. So once you can name your strengths, New York City, you have to do something with it. And once you can name them, then you can work relentlessly on knowing and understanding your strengths, okay? Which is super important to actually being able to apply them. So once you're able to name them, whether it's through the strength finders, whether it's through the Enneagram assessment or speaking with a colleague or asking a friend or a loved one that you like, trust their opinion, write them down and make it plain so that you can see them, so that you can work on understanding them. Review, print it out, right? From the Enneagram, if you go with the Clifton Strength Finders, print it out and review it. And I'm starting with us doing these steps because once you can do this, then you can do the same thing with the students, with the young people that you work on, with the school-based teams that you work with as well. And then just some really good questions to help you reflect and really dive deep into understanding your strengths might be just simple questions like, how might you use your strengths to grow personally and professionally? You might help your students to reflect on their strengths by asking questions like, how might you use your strengths to help your students succeed? With my school-based team that I work with, we had strength-based workshops on a monthly basis that I co-facilitated with a really dope social worker. So shout out to collaborating with our support services. And some of the questions that we would dive deep into with our teams is, what are the earliest memories you have of your strengths? Think about this. What has given you the most energy in your life? What do you just wake up excited to do? Or who were you before the world told you who to be? This question gets deep. When, if ever, have your strengths gone dark? Why? Are you using your strengths in your job, or are they dark? Or are you just going through the motions, y'all? Are you not bringing the best version of yourself into the places where you're working, into your personal lives, into your relationships and your family? What is that block, y'all? What are the deficit ways of going about this that's preventing you from being the best version of yourself? And whatever that might be, I challenge you to get rid of it so that you can begin to use your strengths every single day. Why? Because the world needs you. The world needs your strengths, the best version of you. And so how energizing, how inspiring is it when we operate from a place of what's strong? How much joy would you have? Look, let's be honest, New York City, how many people pull up to their job and just sit in their car, dreading to go inside of that place? But if we shift away from that, we can find joy and meaning in the things that we do. And what if schools were places that prioritize strengths and joy and happiness and identifying the best in people? And what if we brought that out of our students? Then our students reciprocated that, y'all. It's there. It's up to us to unlock the potential, just how people unlock the potential of me, y'all. And so as we continue going through this, I just wanted to give you all, again, you all will get access to all of the slides and resources. I just wanted to leave you all with ways that you can, again, begin applying your strengths. I encourage you to take those assessments, ask yourself those reflective questions, and then begin thinking, how can I use my strengths just a little bit today? How can you find a skill, something that you might have had before that you gave up? How can you tap back into that, y'all? How can we tap into the strength-based language, things like joy and love and seeing the best in other people? Importantly, how can we use our strengths to help other people? And I believe that the time is now for us to do that. And we can no longer, because our young people, our school communities deserve to be places where kids are safe, where they feel valued, they feel cherished, and we can untap the potential that they have so that they can go on and be successful. We can do that. And I want to leave you all with this quote, and it says, the most difficult thing is the decision to act. The rest is merely tenacity. The fears are paper tigers. You can do anything you decide to do. In New York City today, let's decide to shift away from what's wrong to what's strong. Thank you for your time. Again, be sure to follow me on social media. I would love to keep this conversation going. My personal on Twitter is School Psych Life. On Instagram, I'm B McClure6. But you can definitely follow Hacking Deficits. Kelsey Reed and we talk about a lot of these different themes and concepts around this strength-based approach, hacking deficit thinking, and our book that is scheduled to be released sometime in the fall. So follow us for updates, y'all. And let's keep this conversation going. I think like 2 minutes, 30 seconds for questions. So I would love to take questions that anyone might have. And Lauren, you might be able to help me with.
So I think one of the biggest questions that came up, and coming from your school-based time, maybe you have just some words of encouragement to our staff who's saying that we believe in this, our staff believes in it. How can we get our administration to buy in and support with some of this thinking, given the demands that are around us and them all of the time? So anything that you can speak to from your school-based time that was impactful or powerful?
Yeah, the biggest thing, and this question always comes up, one of the biggest things that I encourage people to do is start within your sphere of control, not necessarily your sphere of influence, right? If you envision a circle, as the circle grows bigger, it's those things that we have less control, less impact over. We have to focus over what we have immediate control over, whether that's one student, whether that's your classroom, whether that's your social skills group. What do you have direct control over? And that's exactly how I started, with one small social skills group at an elementary school and a middle school, helping our young people with emotional disabilities, behavior concerns to identify their strengths. And people saw, hey, these students are changing, and it shifted the entire culture of the school. So I started within my sphere of control. So what do you have control over today, in this moment, in this second? Focus on that. Because if you focus on what you don't have control over, you see the moons and the stars and the galaxies. And unfortunately, we can't influence that. We see these systems that I mentioned earlier that are so overwhelming. And at times, it's hard to have systemic change that we know we need. But by starting within your sphere of control, you can shift from what's wrong to what's strong by making a decision. My class, we are going to identify our strengths. That's what we're going to do. And then you're going to start seeing a difference in your students. And then your administrators are going to have no choice but to say, hey, something is happening inside that classroom. We need to do this across other classrooms. We need to do this across the school. And then those folks over at the central office who get to be comfortable, shout out to all the central office folks. Hope y'all have me back. But then they'll say something is happening in that school. What's happening there? We need to do this across the district, but start within your sphere of control. And then ultimately, we are going to shift to what's strong across the nation. New York City, are you with me, y'all?
Thank you. We have, 1 second. So I just want to say to the thousands of comments that we have, it's overwhelming of thank you. The impact and just your overall passion is appreciated. Psychologists and social workers, you will receive all the resources from your supervisor. And the rest of you, if you are not a psychologist or social worker, reach out to that person at your school. They can share with you. But the recording will be available in the event hub for this event. And I know they're about to turn me off. So one last big thank you to you, Byron.
Thank you all. Thank you for having me, Lauren. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. We look forward to having you in the future.